Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Today we are trying to explain about tools in scientific thinking. This is tools of scientific thinking by me and Kristanto Aryo Wirolawan. First, the definitions of scientific thinking or berpikir ilmiah, taken from slideshare.net. That scientific thinking is that mode of thinking about any scientific subject, content, or problem in which the thinker improves the quality of his or her thinking by skillfully taking charge of the structures inherent in thinking and in composing intellectual standard upon them. Based on Dr. Richard Paul and Dr. Linda Elder. Next, taken from Oxford Handbook, scientific thinking refers to both thinking about the content of science and the set of reasoning process that permeate the field of science, inductions, deductions, experimental design, causal reasoning, concept formation, hypothesis testing, and so on, based on Kevin N. Dunbar and David Hall. In conclusion, scientific thinking is a process of thinking about content of science which improve the quality of the thinker. Next, based on Jujun in his book Filsafat Ilmu, sebuah pengantar populer, there is some instrument of scientific of thinking. First is language. The definitions of language, based on Merriam and Webster, language is the words, their pronunciations, and the method of combining them used and understood by a community. While based on Cambridge Dictionary, language is a system of communications consisting of sounds, words, and grammar, or the system of communication used by people in a particular country or type of work. And then there is from Henry Sweet, language is the expressions of ideas by means of speech, sounds combined into words, and then words are combined into sentence, and then these combinations answering to that of idea into thoughts. And then based on Bernard B. and George L. T., a language is a system of arbitrary focal symbols by means of which a social group cooperates.
Kelas saya?
Iya, Mas. Soalnya tadi kata Mas Ucup, kemungkinan Bapak upacara dulu.
Iya, silakan.
Okay, in conclusion, language is a combination of words which use as communication tools and understood by groups of people in particular country or type of works. Features in scientific language. Stevens, in a survey article in 1977, asked what is the nature of scientific discourse is and what is different about it compared with the rest of normal language. He says that scientific discourse use a lot of words, roots, and affixes of Greek and Latin origin, and use or has access to symbols, numbers, name of chemicals, and etc., which are largely international in character. The feature of scientific prose for Stevens are: 1. A rather long sentence. It means contain many clauses, often in complex degree of dependency, and which much embedding. In the second, long nominal group contains string of adjectives or noun acting as adjective, each providing the greater specificity that comes from modification upon modifications. And then the third is frequent passives. So usually the language that used in scientific is in the passive form, which have the effect of putting important ideas in initial positions where in English they carry silence of meaning. Next, Stephen, scientific English is simply English used by scientific or for the purpose of those engaged in science. Equally important is the fact that the argument, the rhetoric, the communicative function of scientific English is chosen so as to serve the particular purpose of the writer or speaker. And based on Ever at 1971, Ever compared the English of science with that of the more general English course given in school. He notes that wide variations due to lexis, but also fun variations at the level of grammar. And in Robinson, in 1980, scientific English is general English plus the extra component of science. And then Vidalsons in 1974 defined scientific language must avoid the first and second person, thus detaching a message from its sender and receiver. The passive is used and we is also used, but in a special way to refer to both the person communicating and the person being addressed. The functions of language. First, transmitting information. It transmits specific knowledge to a public and represent at the same time a specific scientific disciplines. And the second, to express argument. And then the third as metalinguistic. The next tools is mathematics. This is the new one. Okay. The characteristic of mathematics. Mathematics as a language. And then second, mathematics doesn't look anything like natural language. Mathematics deal with numbers and symbols, and it is used to make a conclusion, and its form is highly abstract. And then the third characteristic is mathematics is the only language of communication which serves to make, with precision and economy, quantitative prediction and comparison. Next, mathematics as a tool for deductive thinking. Mathematics play a role in deductive thinking as patterns. Deductive thinking means concluding from general to specific. For example, a human will die is general. Aris is human is specific. So the conclusion is Aris will die. Next, mathematics for natural science and social science. Mathematics becomes very important in the development of various kinds of science. Mathematics for social science is a complex and difficult object of observation study. The next statistic and until the last will be presented by Chris.
Okay, so the next one is statistic. Statistic words come from Latin state or governmental data collection and analysis. It's taken from Deakin, Crichton, Lupa, and Maser in 2005. And the next definition of statistic is a study of data or branch of mathematics dealing with numerical facts. It's taken by Smith on 2018. Why statistics? Statistics is used to develop an appreciation for variability and how it affects product, process, and system. It is estimating the present, predicting the future, and also study the methods that can be used to solve problems or even to build knowledge. And statistics also make the data into information, of course, and to develop an understanding of some basic ideas of statistical analysis or theory for testing. It's kind of a statement relating to an observation that may be true but for which a proof accepted using H1 or disprove and rejected HO that has not been found and so on. Statistic as a tool of scientific thinking is defined as the science, pure and applied of creating, developing, and applying techniques by which the uncertainty of inductive inferences might be evaluated. Statistics enables a researcher to draw meaningful conclusions from masses of data. It's taken from the ndsu.edu. And the next tools after statistic is logic. Logic is a science of reasoning and more into argumentative and has a part of non-empirical science. Furthermore, logic is treated as the theory of reasoning and distinguishing correct reasoning from incorrect reasoning. It's the task of logic, and it also provides mankind with concept of rules and technique that allows mankind to distinguish good, correct reasoning from incorrect reasoning. For example, you should not eat at McDonald's. Why? First of all, they pay their workers fair wages. Second, the animals that go into their products are raised in deplorable and inhuman conditions. Third, the food is really bad for you. Finally, the burgers have facial matters in them. It's according to NASA. And type of logic. The first one is deductive, divided into Aristotelian logic. It seeks to tame natural language by restricting itself to a well-behaved precise portion of the language and proceeding with classification method of syllogism. For example, look at the first circle A and B, which means in Aristotelian it's some A is not B. And in this and in every A is B, the circle shapes may the A inside the B circle. And next one is some A is B. And the last one is no A is B. It's the example of Aristotelian. And next one is sentential or propositional. Sentential were introduced by Immanuel Kant as the theory refers from Aristotelian from the deductive type. Sentential aim to achieve the precision by showing natural language entirely by using logical connectives to form compound statements. You may look at the table. The first one is negation, conjunction, and the second one conjunction, disjunction, conditional, and bioconditional, with the following symbols and meaning. Negation is not, conjunction is and, disjunction is or, conditional is if or then, and bioconditional kind of. The example of negation that can be found, for example, Earth is round. And we could make it into negation, Earth is not round, for example. And the next one is conjunction. A say if Earth is round and Earth is the third. The second statement is Earth is the third planet in our solar system. So the conclusion is Earth is round and Earth is the third planet in our solar system, for example. And the next one is conditional. It starts with these two hypotheses, A and B. an angle is straight, it measures 180 degrees. So the conclusion, if an angle is a straight angle, then it measures 180 degrees. And the next one is the example of bioconditional depend from conditional hypothesis. In the conditional, the statement is if an angle is a straight angle, then its measure is 180 degrees. But if in bioconditional, it's like to swap from the back to the front. If the measure of an angle is, then it's a straight angle, for example. And the next one is disjunction. The first statement states that my car has a bad engine, and the second one is my car has a bad carburetor. So the conclusion is my car has a bad engine, or my car has a bad carburetor. That's the example for disjunction. Then the next type is inductive. Inductive aim to provide premises that make the conclusion more probable. For example, analogical reasoning is the idea that construct or identify a case that people are clear about and comparing relevant similarities. For example, the first statement, entity A has attributes A, B, C, and until Z. And entity B has attributes A, B, and C. So in the second statement, entity B has sum from the A. Therefore, entity B probably has attribute A as well. For example, year is to month, then 1 is to 12. Year refers to the 1 and month refers to the 12, for example. And the next type is causal arguments. A causal argument asserts or denies that something is the cause of something else. A causal claims says or implies that one thing caused or caused another. For example, I cannot research my emails. The network must be down. And the next one is probability. Probability is ordinarily used to describe an attitude of mind towards some proposition of whose truth we are not certain. In terms of applied science, and the interest is usually of the form: will a specific event occur? Well, the attitude of mind is on the form of how certain are we that the event will occur. So probability might compare between the applied science and attitude of mind. In numerical measure, probability are caught between 0 and 1. The higher probability on an event, the more certain we are that the event will occur. And the next one is the statistical argument. Statistical arguments rest on statistical evidence that some group has particular characteristics. The premise describes a statistical relationship from observed cases to unobserved cases. Formally, the arguments can be represented as follows: n% of observed X are therefore probably. Example: you're a college student, and 90% of college students want no cumulative final. So you as a college student probably do not want a cumulative final. That's the example of statistical arguments that has been observed before by statistically. So the last one is relationship between language, logic, mathematics, and statistics in a tool in scientific thinking. Language is a tool of verbal communication that's used in every scientific thinking process, where the language is used to communicate thought. Well, logic is used as a measurement in scientific thinking, as science itself is a combination between inductive and deductive logic. So it used, and mathematics has an important role in deductive logic, and statistics has an important role in inductive. As a conclusion, these 4 points are related to each other, and yeah. So I think